The City of Johannesburg has been conducting raids on dilapidated and hijacked buildings in the inner city. They're aimed at addressing safety concerns that stem from the unlawful occupation of property and illegal power and water connections. Let's speak further now about this with the acting mayor of Johannesburg, Kenny Kunene, because just yesterday dozens of people were detained. Undocumented migrants were told detained during the city's operations. Acting mayor, very good evening to you. Welcome to SABC News. So yesterday, the number of undocumented migrants who had been arrested during these raids stood at about 40. Is that still the latest figure?
Yes, the number was about 40, but let me thank you for having me. We started the operation yesterday, and we continued today, and we arrested more illegal foreigners, including Pakistani officials, nationals, that we found that they have fraudulent asylum papers, as picked up by the immigration officers that joined us on this particular operation.
The limitation, though, with the raids, even though they're being welcomed by some members of the public, is that they don't fully address, do they, the issue especially of illegal occupation of property in the inner city, nor do they fully address, for example, illegal immigration, because ultimately we don't even know how many people you're looking for or how many are coming in each day.
Look, you have to start somewhere. This thing is a pandemic of illegal foreigners who have hijacked our buildings, of illegal foreigners who have occupied our cities and towns and villages. It's a pandemic. So, but we have to start somewhere. New York was worse than Johannesburg. New York was turned around by Ruth Giuliani. Salvador was a pandemic. It was worse than Johannesburg. It was turned around by Bukele, who is now the president of El Salvador. I can make many examples. So nothing is impossible in turning around Johannesburg. Yesterday, when we raided this building that had a squatter camp inside it and a crash of very sick children that were also looked after by children, a lot of people thought that we could not make it because they said Inkabisa in that building. They said syndicates that are collecting from those people are going to fight back. But we are government. We can't be afraid of criminals. So we are starting somewhere. It will address these problems. Today I was in Randburg, and in the CBD of Randburg, we also went to Windsor. And the community of Windsor of South Africans appreciated our presence there.
I think the point I'm making to you, Acting Mayor, is that ultimately you can conduct the raids, but until, for example, Home Affairs has done its part and the borders are secure, you won't be able to fully deal with it. So you can deport people, but if they can still come back, for instance, from the arrests made this year alone, how many of those undocumented foreign nationals have actually been deported?
Let me make an example. I was in a meeting with COGTA today. The chairperson of COGTA was there. And in my address to them, I asked them as members of parliament to look at the property laws, because the property laws as they stand encourage criminality. The property laws do not define criminality. That if somebody stays in a building that they have hijacked, they can't be evicted, they must be arrested. That is why NGOs have taken advantage of this. And we hear that some NGOs are being paid a retainer by the same hijackers of buildings, so that when people are evicted, they then jump to courts. Once you evict or you evacuate people, same time, NGOs are around, which means these people are on a speed dial.
Let me ask you then about that. Who are the NGOs that are being paid, as you're alleging, by these kingpins, and who are the kingpins?
It's an allegation that I have heard from 2023 that some of the NGOs are on a retainer of these hijackers. We are still investigating who are those. But you see, some of the things require one to be in a permanent power position of, let's say, premier or mayor. because I'm concerned at the moment about South Africa, but I'm also in Johannesburg. If I make Johannesburg a free zone, illegal immigrants free zone, whether national responds to borders immediately or not, at least within the borders of Johannesburg, illegal immigrants will know that there it is a no-go zone. They will know that there you get arrested, there you get deported out of the borders of Johannesburg. Then we will have the city of Johannesburg as an example to the country to say this can be done. So I am starting somewhere.
So, Mr. Kunene, just on that point, because we have about 2 minutes left, are you using then your time as acting mayor to basically campaign for what you would do as a member of the Patriotic Alliance? So are you using your time as a stand-in to basically put your case forward? And is that what these raids are intended to do for the Patriotic Alliance?
No, I'm doing service delivery. We have a pandemic. This issue is close to my heart as a citizen of South Africa, as a resident of Johannesburg. Today I went to Randburg and Windsor. We found that some blocks of flats where majority is illegal foreigners, they have connected electricity, and the meters that are there, the city cannot find them in the system. They owe the city around 8 million, which means they owe the city more. There's another one that owes the city 9 million. There's others where Pakistanis have shops at the bottom, but they are drawing electricity from the residential flats. So the electricity that they are using is not accounted for as business. So it's not about campaigning. It is about the passion to get our city back, about getting our country back, but also about implementing the manifesto of the Patriotic Alliance, which is the party that has deployed me to be in the city of Johannesburg as an MMC, and to make sure that I achieve what the parties desire to achieve for people of South Africa.
I just want to speak to you lastly about the issue of the kingpins. Do you agree, firstly, that we're not going to be able to deal with the issue of hijacked buildings in Johannesburg, which by your own estimates, these are more than 600 buildings that are hijacked, that either belong to the state or belong to private owners, but have been taken over by syndicates, which you say, in fact, are now even fighting for territory, killing each other. So when are we going to see arrests of the kingpins? And do we know who the kingpins are, who are ultimately acting as these slumlords who are collecting money, facilitating illegal connections of water and electricity? Who are they, and when are you going to arrest them?
I don't know their names, but I am told that there are these syndicates. The people that stay in these buildings tell us that there are people that come to collect money from them every month. So it shows that there is that syndicate. It comes from Italians, it comes from Indians, Greeks, Afrikaners, South African black people, Nigerians, DRC, Zimbabweans. So everybody is in that space, and they are killing each other. But I am saying, if one is able to have total control in Johannesburg to lead, one will be able to use the resources within Johannesburg to be able to mitigate all these challenges. Obviously, we will need the intervention of South African police from national, not even at local level, or from the province, so that they can back us up to clean. We are government. We cannot fail to deal with criminality and criminals. We will destroy those syndicates. We will hand over buildings to their rightful owners. The city will claim its buildings back. And those that do not have owners, we will expropriate them and partner with the private sector to make Johannesburg look better than it used to be. So we are government. We cannot say we can't. We can. If you looked at today, I showed how the illegal immigrants are destroying our bridges, staying under our bridges, doing fire, and this heat taking away the sealant between the bridge. You can see the space. You can see the cracks under our bridges. So we cannot sit back and say, hey, this is too much. We might not deal with it. I want to start somewhere and go they will know.
I hear you're not sitting back. Pardon me, in 30 seconds. You said, for example, you don't know the names of the kingpins, but you've heard at least allegations, reports that they are also funding NGOs. You said that you heard as long ago as 2023. It's 2025. If you can't crack that case, what hope is there of getting back these 600 buildings, at least in this term of government?
I have said it publicly. It is for law enforcement to have investigated. Unfortunately, I'm not in charge of law enforcement. Had the president given us South African Police Service to run, and Gayton McKenzie were the Minister of Police, I would have been able to say, hey, Baba, we have this challenge in the city of Johannesburg. Can you please assist? So, but I am saying, as we move forward with the interventions that I'm making, I think that the South African police, the Minister of Police will also want to come on board so that we can deal with this pandemic that our country is facing.
Acting Mayor of Johannesburg, Kenny Kunene, good to talk to you. Thank you so much for making time for us this evening.
Salute on Spaizani.